What's going on, my friends? It's your old pal Sean Pierce Johnson, and welcome back to Stompbox Saturday. I am so stinking excited for today's show because we have something hot off the presses, fresh out the kitchen, and doing something that I have been wanting done for years. Coming to us in collaboration between Highwind Amplification and Peper's Pedals is the Fire and Sword preamp. Longtime viewers of the channel will no doubt know my much avowed love for orange amps, specifically the Rockerverb 100, the Mark I Rockerverb 100. But I've played every iteration of the Rockerverb since it came out, the 100s, the 50s, the 2s, the 3s, and I've generally loved them all. But there is one request I've made of orange over the years that has not yet been met, and that is please take the Rockerverb sound, put it into a nice pedal board friendly package that I can slap on a pedal board. I can run it into the front end of a great clean platform amp, or better yet, into a power amp of any amp that I might run across as backline, and I have my sound right there. Thankfully for me, Jordan at Highwind Amplification is also a huge Rockerverb fan, and he took the initiative to take the preamp section of that amplifier, put it into a nice little pedal with a couple special add-ons thanks to one of his other pedals, and also something that Peper's Pedals is famous for. So why don't we get down to business and throw the pedal up on the screen and take a look at the controls and talk about some of the features that are available in the Fire and Sword. A wise man once said, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Well, I'm not that wise, but I do know that if you can dial in an amp, you can dial in this pedal. It has two sides labeled preamp and boost. Now the preamp is controlled by these 5 knobs: level, high, mid, low, and gain. That right there is the Rockerverb 100's dirty channel, and it does a great job of capturing that booming yet aggressive and silky smooth yet biting ability that amp has to create a modern high gain sound in the orange amp's context. The boost knob is a level control that sets a boost amount going into the preamp section. So it's kind of like running a tube screamer or any other overdrive pedal into the front end of a dirty amp. It's that kind of modern metal and hard rock idea. In the up position, it's called Wolf. Now this is a simplified version of Highwind's Direwolf overdrive, itself being a highly modified tube screamer. But earlier I did mention Peper's Pedals, and by flicking the switch down to the tree position, you have a preset setting for a dirty trees boost, itself being based on the TC EQ boost thing that the guys from Meshuggah love so much. But you don't have to mess with bass and treble controls. It's all just one knob labeled boost, 2 different flavors, each giving a very interesting sort of EQ curve to the sound. Really, that's all you need to know. It's a preamp of the Rockerverb 100 in a pedal with 2 very cool boosts in front of it. Now everything right now is set at noon, but what we really need to do is do a comparison first. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dial in the Fire and Sword the way that I like the Rockerverb to sound, and we're gonna compare it to my Rockerverb 100. So here are the settings for the Fire and Sword that get me as close to my sound with the Rockerverb as possible. And these are my settings on the Rockerverb's dirty channel. This is generally how I like to set it most all the time for writing music with Cockeyed Optimist, even just noodling around here in the studio. And this is also generally what I do for demos where I use the Rockerverb's dirty channel. Now here's how the comparison's gonna go. I'm gonna play the Rockerverb and the Fire and Sword, both with just their dirty channels, no boost engaged. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add on the Wolf boost on the Fire and Sword to the preamp of the Fire and Sword and the Rockerverb 100 sound. Now we're gonna do this blind, so I want you to tell me in the comments section below which one you think is the Fire and Sword and which one you think is the Rockerverb. Let's do this. So, could you actually tell a difference? I sensed slight differences, but not enough to hinder my enjoyment of this pedal. I can basically just put the review in this portion right here. This thing is awesome. I would even add an expletive in front of it, but I'm not going to. It's just plain awesome. Now let's go ahead and throw the pedal back up on the screen, because now I want you to know what I'm doing with the Fire and Sword. So that's kind of how I would set it to get my sort of modern rock, hard rock, even towards alternative metal kind of sounds. And what I want to do now is give you an idea of what the boost is capable of using these exact same settings. But this is also going to lead into what we can do for tone shaping later on in the video. So let's do this. Check it out. Now you can hear there's a drastic difference between the Wolf and the Trees setting, but that does kind of lend itself to utilizing this with different guitars, different instruments. That Trees thing would work remarkably well for, say, my Ormsby, especially tuned in drop A. Conversely, let's flick that into the Wolf mode and dial it back to something maybe more about there. And let's just hear the difference. You can hear there's a ton of difference between the Wolf mode and the Tree mode. The Wolf is much thicker, but it does tighten things, but it sort of lends itself more, at least in this incarnation, towards just your normal range guitar. 6 strings, maybe tuned down to like drop C, but the lower and lower you get for extended range stuff, 7, 8, maybe even 9 strings. I don't have an 8 or a 9 string, and 9 strings, what's wrong with you? Basically, the Tree setting is going to be your friend, tightening up the lows, adding a bit more focus to the overall sound so it really hits you right in the face. And that's really all you need to know. This thing is the Rockerverb's preamp in a box with a single knob boost with 2 different voicings. And with that in mind, it's time to just bust out guitars and start making music and creating tones and capturing orange in a box that's not from Orange. Man, this feels weird. There you have it, my friends. That is the Fire and Sword preamp and boost from Highwind Amplification and Peper's pedals. I'm just gonna say one sentence. This thing is awesome. That's the review. This does exactly the thing that I want the Rockerverb to do anytime I plugged into it. It's got the sound, it's got the feel, and it's got some bonus features that can make it more applicable to more guitar players. Even if you don't wanna run it super gainy, the crunch sounds are there and are just as fun if you start playing around with the boost. It's a really cool experiment in gain staging. But the fact that I was able to plug in every single main guitar that I have in the context of my own band and get the sound and the comfort level and the enjoyment of playing as I usually do when I plug into the Rockerverb means that this thing is an instant winner. It is one that I don't want to have to send back to Jordan, but I'm gonna have to send back to him whenever these things are, or at least whenever I'm capable of adding one to the arsenal. This thing is an absolute must go on a pedal board in case I need to do a backline gig kind of thing. If you enjoyed this video in any way, I would greatly appreciate your support in helping my endeavor to make better guitar gear demos for players from all walks of life. There's two great ways that you can do that. The easiest is to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. But the best way, and the one that allows us to stay in touch more directly, is if you sign up for my email newsletter club. I send links to videos just like this direct to your inbox without algorithms messing things up. Just go to SeanPierceJohnson.com/email, enter your first and last name and your email address. It's gonna take me a couple days to get your email into the server software, but once you are in there, you will receive a confirmation email letting me know that we are going to be friends for a good long while. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it for you. And until we see each other again, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all watching great tone, great health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers, friends. God bless.